You're listening to the Secure Dad Podcast. Discover ways to secure your home, protect your family, and embrace your role as a protector parent. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the creator of The Secure Dad. This podcast serves to help families become proactive in their safety. The information I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family, because our safety is our own responsibility. Today, I'm going to be sharing some tips on how we can all be safe on social media. This not only applies to us as adults, but it applies to our kids as well. All of that and more ahead on the Secure Dad Podcast. As we approach the summer, we're all making plans to visit far-off locations with our families. Don't forget about keeping your home secure while you're gone. And just like you have a packing list for your trip, I've got a list for your home defense. The Secure Dad Family Home Security Assessment is a 12-page list of DIY tips to help protect your home. From the street to your bedrooms, this assessment will help you identify the weak points in your home and how to upgrade your security. Download your copy today when you go to thesecuredad.com or just simply click on the link in the show notes. Protect your phone, laptop, and other devices with Silent. Silent makes a great line of Faraday solutions that essentially take your device off the grid. By placing a phone or device inside one of their Faraday bags, you are blocking cellular, GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, RFID, NFC, EMR, EMP, and EMF plus radiation. Silent is there to help you with your privacy, your health, and your security. Listeners of this podcast get 10% off your order at silent.com when you use the code TheSecureDad at checkout. That's TheSecureDad. That's your code. Check out the link in the show notes for more from Silent. Social media was supposed to be fun, and it can be fun, but every once in a while, a news story comes along that makes you want to delete all of your accounts. They range from scammers taking an elderly person's money to predators luring kids to a location to be kidnapped. So social media is good, but it can also be used for bad. As with all things online, we must be vigilant, especially when it comes to our kids. Here are a few ways that we can make our kids and ourselves safer on social media. While many of us want to blame social media for all of our current problems, the fact is, most of the time, we actually make our own trouble. All we need to do is think twice about what we post on social media. Ask yourself why you're doing it and what good is going to come from your post. Now, some people like to watch the world burn in the comments, and I see you, and I enjoy those kind of things too, but most of us just want to connect with like-minded people. So before you hit that share button, I just want you to think twice about what you're sharing. This is especially important for our kids because they will be judged for what they posted when they were only 14 years old. This could hurt their chances at college acceptance, job applications, and even relationships. So while our kids just really want to be kids on social media, they have to think about their future when they post. And I know that's a lot of stress on them. And if your kids don't want that stress, then maybe they don't need to be on social media. Speaking of the trouble that we can create on social media, don't make yourself a target of a crime. A lot of people think that since social media is digital, that what we do there can't follow us into the real world. And nothing could be further from the truth. Posting your vacation plans this summer could get your home broken into. Posting that you're at the gym could get you stalked. Posting your job information could get you fired for how you acted outside of the office. The possibilities are really endless. And this just breaks down the information that we are putting out there about ourselves. So be sure your entire family is on the same page, because if mom and dad have great privacy online, a child might inadvertently blow it by sharing a pic of being on vacation while you're gone. And that may make your home a target for a burglary, like I just talked about. So just make sure that everybody's on the same page and don't inadvertently make yourself a target for a crime. While you don't expect too much privacy on social media, because that's kind of the nature of things, consider who you're posting to. Who is your audience? Remember that thing back in English class in high school? It says, who is your audience? Consider your audience when you're writing. Well, Let's do the same thing in real life with social media. Do you want your posts to be seen by everyone? I feel anybody under the age of 18 should have a private account, even if the platform doesn't make that mandatory already. For me, I have personal social media accounts for my friends and family. Then the secured ad stuff is public, of course. My personal accounts are locked down and really don't get used all that often. I personally don't post too much about myself unless I can make a good joke that I know everybody's going to laugh at. I find my life to be more peaceful that way. But I want to strongly caution you about what personal information you share on public channels. Information like where your kids go to school, your job locations, and the bars that you frequent don't need to be shared on a public account. You really don't know who's following you on a public account, and I'm thinking a lot about Twitter here. It seems like the more Twitter followers you have, the less and less you know your audience, and you know who's listening to you or watching you. So really just be careful about that. If you have a public profile, regardless of the platform, just be cautious about what you share because you don't know who is actually watching your life. On all social media apps, don't overlook the bio. You may lock down your posts, but don't forget about the information that people can get from your bio. Many social media sites on your bio share a ton of information about who you are. Facebook, for example, will share your name, age, town where you live, where you went to school, workplace, relationship status, and so much more that I don't even want to keep going. You don't have to share any of those details. Only share the minimum required to make the account, and don't feel like you have to be specific about it either. For example, you could live in Buckhead, but it might be safer for you to say that you live in Atlanta. And yeah, I just made a lot of Atlanta people laugh. But you don't owe social media companies specific details about your life. You simply don't. And it's okay to be vague if that's what you need to do to keep yourself and your kids safe. The most popular social media apps involve photo sharing. Snapchat, Instagram, and BeReal all want you to share pictures to use their service. This can get a lot of people in trouble for a lot of reasons. And now I'm going to focus my thoughts on what information you may be giving away by accident. For example, I don't want you to take a quick selfie in front of like your laptop or your phone or any other device that might have personal information on that screen. Those are the things you need to think about. That's the information that you could be giving away inadvertently. Also, don't post pictures of your house that might share your address, your street sign, what your house might look like, or even the kind of locks that you have on your front door. That's especially true for women who are living by themselves. You don't want to give that information away. These are all things that can be exploited easily for reasons that you probably have never thought about. So when you post a picture, look at the subject, make sure the lighting's good, everybody's smiling, the eyes are open, everything's great, but then look at the background to see what you might be missing. You might be thinking that there are safe social media apps that no one would use to exploit you. For us adults, perhaps, you think about LinkedIn. You may think that site is safe because you share your professional version of yourself. Plus, it's boring, so why on earth would scammers want to be there, right? Well, since people are being honest about their skills, knowledge, and work histories, LinkedIn is one of the most OSINT-rich social media sites out there. Remember that OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence, which really encompasses everything on social media, really. But with LinkedIn, you feel compelled to share your location, current and past jobs, your contact information, your connections, and a ton more ways that people can find out who you are. There are legendary stories of phishing and whaling scams that come from people doing normal searches on LinkedIn to establish relationships and explore all sorts of traps. And they didn't do it by hacking. They just used the service the way it is. If you haven't logged into LinkedIn in a while, go back and do a quick check of the information that you're sharing and see what you can delete while still looking like a qualified candidate. So the last thing that I want to talk about in closing is teaching our kids discernment when it comes to what they read on social media. Not everything that is online on social media is real. Not everything is accurate. Now, the intent of somebody posting could be to share accurate information, but they're wrong, or something just isn't right. And then, of course, there's actually people out there who try to manipulate public opinion by posting half-truths or misinformation or disinformation or whatever the buzzword of the week is. Now, I'll tell you something very funny that happened. I saw this kind of like a meme somewhere in my scrolling, And it was something that was just so absurd that I had to go and kind of fact check what I had read. Now, fact checking is something important that your kids need to do. They need to be able to say, okay, I just read something interesting on social media. Now let me go see if it's true. And honestly, we as adults should be doing this. But I saw this post for, and this is what I saw, a special flavor of Pringles chips called Minecraft Suspicious Stew. My son and I played Minecraft together for a long time, so when I saw this, the can looked so real. I was like, oh, maybe somebody faked that. But come to find out, it's actually true. You can actually find it on the Pringles website. It's Pringles Minecraft Suspicious Stew Crisps. So that is a mouthful. So while that's just kind of a silly random thing from the internet, I think the workflow there is something that parents and children should be aware of. That if when they see something online that they know or suspect may not be real, go and double check it somewhere or ask you as a parent, hey, I saw this online, what do I need to do here? Probably coming to you as a parent is the better idea. You just don't want to let your kids, learn everything about life on social media and the internet, and gosh, that's a topic for another time. So if social media causes this much stress for us as an adult, what's it like to be a kid? Their brains aren't fully developed and their social skills are not as sharp as ours. I absolutely suggest that you keep your kids off social media for as long as you can. If your kids are wanting a phone but you don't want them to have social media, then you might be interested in Trumi Wireless. I'm currently testing out one of their phones and it's going well so far. But one of the points that I really liked about Trumi was that their phones won't allow social media apps to be downloaded. If that's something that interests you, check out the link in the show notes. Now, there's a ton more on social media safety that we need to cover, and honestly, I could probably talk about it for 3 hours, but do you really want to listen to me for 3 hours talk about that? I don't think so. So keep these things in mind, of course, and you can follow The Secure Dad on social media for more tips on how to be safe on social media. I realize the irony there. This is going to be a topic that I continue to cover because it's a completely evolving environment. It's always changing. New threats are coming and going all the time. You can search for The Secure Dad on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and Telegram with the username The Secure Dad is the same username on every platform. That's all that I have for the Secure Dad podcast for today. Thank you, friend, for listening. Make sure to protect your devices with Faraday Solutions from Silent. Get 10% off your next purchase with the code TheSecureDad. That's TheSecureDad. Check out the link in the show notes. If you want your kids to have a smartphone, but not have social media apps, then Trumi Wireless might be a solution for you. Listeners of this podcast can get $50 off any Trumi phone with the code SecureDad at checkout. For more on Trumi, you can check out the link in the show notes. Next week, I have a fascinating interview with 2 crisis managers as we fully break down virtual kidnapping and extortion calls. This is pretty much going to be a masterclass on how these things work, so you absolutely do not want to miss next week. If you want to know more about The Secure Dad, join me on Instagram and Twitter. My username for both platforms is The Secure Dad. And of course, my site is available to you 24/7 at thesecuredad.com. I'm Andy Murphy, reminding you that our safety is our own responsibility.